love Maxwell House. I love like kind of cheesy bad coffee as opposed to gourmet coffee or so-called good coffee. I love bad coffee. I don't know. Even instant coffee. Is that weird? I don't know.
Anybody else want to join in
It's
this?
something that's
Got a musical introduction.
Coffee?
Okay.
Never had it. Never been.
I'm Keith Gonstead. This is Burdock Radio.
I'm sure I do.
Welcome.
I don't think that's. I think that we make associations.
Don't sue me for anything I say.
You know, things like
you
coffee.
won't get any money. Don't sue the radio station because they're not responsible for anything I say.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having those kinds of pleasures from, you know, because memories are all tied in with our with
and I'm not responsible
experiences, food experiences.
Not for the adjusting of this microphone or anything. My guest today is James Gapinski.
Hello.
You're pretty far away from that mic, aren't you? Can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Give it a check.
Good.
Okay.
Hello, I'm James Gapinski.
All right. Uma?
Hello.
How do you say your last name again?
Shankaram.
Shankaram?
Yeah.
See, I never would have said that right.
That's okay.
I would have said Sankaram, and I'd have been wrong.
That's close enough, though.
Shankaram?
Yeah.
Okay. And these are the editors of the Conium Review. Two of the editors.
Mm-hmm.
Managing editor and senior editor. And your associate editor is not here. And your guest editor. Who's your guest editor for the next one? Do you?
For the next one, it is Mark Schuster. He's the author of most recently The Grievers, which was put out by the Permanent Press. I think it was published late last year. He's got another novel through them called The Amazing Adventures of Supermom and Party Girl, or Wonder Mom and Party Girl. I don't know. But it's kind of a funny romp. I started that one. So he's our current guest editor, and it's been working out pretty nicely. We've finished taking submissions for that issue and kind of doing the layout and design and everything. Looking ahead to the fourth issue, the guest editor we've got lined up is Benjamin Schachtman, who was actually published, he was published in our first issue with, what piece was it? Forgetting the title of it.
Fiction writer?
Yeah, he's a fiction writer.
Do you tend to lean towards fiction writers when you search out for guest editors?
I wouldn't say I lean there. For the third issue, we put out kind of a general call for submissions, or for like applications, I guess, for the guest editor position, and kind of sifted through them. There seemed to be more fiction than poetry of people that were interested, and then from there, we just sort of whittled it down to who seemed like the best fit, and it just kind of worked out that way. But and Benjamin's piece was Dear Penthouse, which was actually one of our pushcart nominations for this year. Uma nominated that piece. It's kind of the longer novelette from that issue.
Would he accept the pushcart if he was awarded the pushcart?
I believe so.
Really? I only nominate people that don't want it refuse to accept it.
It's too corporate and too small press.
Well, I got into some arguments with people about it. I don't really understand politics of publications anymore. It's beyond me. I'm a small fish and everything. So I just say to the people that are like really avidly against it, when they give me things, I say, you're going to get nominated. And they say, don't nominate me. I was like, well, why not? Because first of all, the things I nominate have no chance. They're usually far too experimental for pushcart and too cussy, too dirty. I don't know what the best way to put it is. But I think Paul Vogel gets nominated like almost every time, and a couple other people that really don't want it, like for some reason. I don't know why, but it's really funny to me. It's like a literary joke on them and on us at the same time. But I've never been nominated for a pushcart that I know of.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, I could nominate myself.
You could.
But I don't know that it counts because I don't have USB numbers on the back of my Burdocks ever. Or not USB numbers. You know what I'm saying.
ISBN.
ISBN.
Yeah.
USB numbers.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just any small press published in the United States. It has to be the U.S., right?
Yeah,
I don't think beyond that it's pretty loose.
What's the date? The deadline on that's December something.
December
already.
1st.
Oh,
yeah,
I can't
you missed
do
it.
I missed it already. It would have. Who would I have done this year? It would have been. Oh goodness. Probably I would have had to have nominated David Press, just for being David Press, and then I don't know who else. Somebody. I can't think of the really dirty one from issue 11 or not. So yeah, if you're tuning in right now and you have no idea who we are and what we're talking about, by the way, I'll reintroduce them. James and Uma are from Conium Review, which is based in Portland. They're here today to celebrate the release of my chapbook, which James published, called High Art and Love Poems. And I'm trying to put that in the camera view streaming. I don't know. We'll adjust the camera in a second here so that it looks at the guests, which is what usually supposed to
I didn't
be.
realize there was a camera. You didn't.
Well, that's for Ustream. See, I've ambushed.
Does that get archived?
It does. I've ambushed Uma already just by having her here on the stage.
And I'm just laughing randomly, and I'm okay with that.
That's okay.
I can handle that.
All right. She didn't want to be on the show, and now James doesn't want to be on camera. Basically,
I'm fine with
nobody wants to be anywhere near this show right now. I don't know what I did.
I don't know. No.
Maybe it's because it's on a Thursday. Thursdays are awkward
it's
for
not
people.
your fault. You're very approachable.
It's not
wearing a tie tonight.
I am wearing a tie.
Because later we have the release reading for High Art and Love Poems later tonight at Woodland Pattern. If you happen to be listening to this live instead of via podcast or anything, you should check that out. 7 o'clock.
You're much better at
plugging
than I am.
But we published High Art and Love Poems coming out officially today. A few of the pre-orders kind of already in the mail, but this is sort of the release celebration. And it's really cool because it's kind of, first of all, it's Keith's work, which is pretty awesome, and it was in our second issue as well. He's got some of his work in there, but also just kind of marks the start of kind of branching out, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. It's chancy business trying to publish things not electronic these days. You know what I mean? But it's important, I think, in general. And you guys are pretty smart. You have both, I think, the electronic out there. No?
Not of the journal. No, we don't have like an ebook version of it yet or anything. But I use the internet and the web to kind of attract readers through. Right. We put like reviews of other small press books online and kind of,
you got kind of a tripod going there because you use the internet with the podcasts to interview people and also to put out reviews of work. But then you have the journal itself to publish things. So there's like it's another way of getting a hold of literature basically and new stuff, which I think is really cool. It's a really innovative way of using all those different mediums.
Yeah, and I think that's the way certain presses are going and should go. Like people say print is dying, but I like to say it's just changing, and you have to kind of know how to play to both the print and the electronic thing if you want print to survive,
Sure.
And but that's what we're doing with it, and so we are, looking ahead toward changes and looking for even more website integration in the future. I don't know if I ever want to do an ebook of the journal, because it was kind of founded as a print only, and that was kind of the mission. But maybe some of the side projects could go that direction, as well as I'm looking at kind of reformatting the website so that we can have like, along with reviews, maybe like columns or just other kind of online content from other editors and people who want to get on there and share just, I don't know, their ideas about writing in general or whatever it is.
You should have a live troll session.
A live troll session, yeah.
Like people just try to get into arguments with each other on your site.
All right.
I think that would be
good.
An innovative use of the internet.
Well, trolling is terrible, but the
there's
comment
an art
idea,
to it though. There's an art to it.
Yeah, the comment thing I want to start doing. Right now the website is very clean and modern, which I aesthetically like. It's easy to click around on, but it doesn't allow a lot of, interactability. So that's something I want to kind of try to bring in, is the ability for people to also log on. Just the random user can log on and comment on, or leave maybe even just comments about High Art and Love Poems after they read it. They could just click and comment or whatever, something like that. We'll see where it goes, but
we've got comments on the back of the chapbook actually that I find amusing.
Blurbs.
The blurbs. You were very good at hunting blurbs. I know I supplied some names for you, but there's people on here that I'm not familiar with, which I think is kind of neat. That they read that they liked the poems to begin with, and that they made such nice comments. Ian Chung, editor of, how do you say that? I'm going to go with Yernoya. I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. I should have looked it up. I looked it up in the dictionary once, and it's got the little accents above it, and it tells you.
Yernoya?
But I don't know. I do know. I think it's the only word in the English language to use all of the vowels. Is that true? That maybe I'm making that up.
A-E-I-O-U.
There's no Y.
There's no
sometimes Y. I could be making that up, but I think that's true.
He could have spelled, this would have been his choice, review with a Y in it.
He could have. But
just to be clever.
But Ian Chung, he's the editor of this word we can't pronounce, which I feel terrible about because he was our guest editor.
The Impronounceable Review.
For the second issue. He also does some editing for the Caverdine and Epicenter magazine, which are much easier to pronounce.
Unoya.
But the Unoya review is sort of his pet project. That's his thing. And I had him take a look at it. Even though his stint as guest editor was done at this point, he's, I'm still in contact with him and throw him things to kind of get his opinion on occasionally. And the other one that you may not recognize or that you mentioned earlier you didn't is Liz Hart,
Liz
author
Hart.
of Sacred Names. She read at our, we have a reading series called the Something-esque reading series. It was kind of designed as like a summer reading series, so we did like 3 over the summer in Portland at the Jack London downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And she read for us there. She's got a chapbook out called Sacred Names. She's got another one coming out pretty soon.
Right.
And she's a poet in the area. Does a lot of really cool kind of funny poems, a few offensive ones that you might nominate for a pushcart since you like to do that. But for the most part, funny and kind of lighthearted. She calls herself a queer author, but she does not really. The themes are more subtle, and it's more just. It's more about life in Portland. It's not so much about her sexuality, which is kind of refreshing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a really good poet, and we've been lucky enough to have her read for us. So the Something-esque was supposed to be a summer reading series, and then we added a 4th one, and then now we're doing them every like 3 months or so because people still keep turning out and kind of wanting them. We did one to celebrate the end of a class I was teaching at Mount Hood Community College, to give the students a chance to kind of share their work in a broader sphere and show off to their family and friends, like, hey, this is what I've been working on. And then looking ahead, we'll have one in February for the release of the third issue. I'm sorry, the third issue.
You're looking so far ahead already.
I know.
You're already thinking about the 4th one.
You have to when you're, printing things that are like 150 and 200 pages thick and stuff. It takes forever to put them together. And
yeah, I was surprised
every 6 months.
That you guys bothered to publish this because it's only 30, 32, 31 pages. 34 pages. My bad. And I was worried. I was like, it is a chapbook.
Mm-hmm.
It is supposed to be short. But it's not very many places you can submit chapbooks length manuscripts to, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure someone will call up and say, oh, there's tons of places. But I'm like, no, there's not very many that I could publish it in. So I was kind of like pleasantly surprised that you enjoyed this so much. It was really cool because I had sent them kind of a blind submission, I guess. It was just sent to you to take a look at and see what you thought of it. And then that's the first thing you guys published outside of the journal. And you have a fiction coming out?
Ideally. We'll see how this does, but I mean the plan is sometime in early 2013 a book called Bear Season by Bernie Haffley, I believe is how you pronounce it. I've only spoken with him via email so far, so I haven't checked in on that.
Right.
With there's no dictionary to find the accents on that. But yeah, it's this really neat story. Fiction, obviously, but it's historical fiction, and it's sort of like a Bildungsroman. It's kind of a coming of age story about this kid and his relationship with his uncle, and his uncle was in World War II stationed in Poland, and he worked with Wojciech, which was I'm not sure how to pronounce that either. It's a Polish word, and I should know because I'm partially Polish and have a little I had a great grandmother who still spoke Polish and everything, but anyways, it's this bear that they actually trained to carry munitions around, and like there was this bear that was an honorary member of the platoon, and it actually smoked cigarettes and like drank with the men and just hung out, and like a full-grown bear that just was part of the unit. And so it's kind of a historical imaginative fiction kind of thing that ties in that real life occurrence of this weird kind of bear thing that existed. Yeah. There's been a couple of books already. It was something I didn't really know about until I don't know.
There are these little things where you miss, and then suddenly that's just so freaking weird. Okay, no, I'm into that. A bear that smokes cigarettes and carries.
Yeah, so that's kind of the hook. But if you're talking like the universal story beneath the kind of veneer, it's more of just like a kind of coming of age sort of story, and he's also kind of dealing with some the father issues and stuff through this surrogate of like the uncle. The father isn't part of the story, but so it's interesting. It was a good read, and originally we had thought about it for one of the issues of the Conium because we do publish novellas, and this is a substantial novella, though. I mean, by some people's definition, it could be a novel. We're like, okay, that's kind of cool. We could maybe turn this into its own book if we can sock away enough money for it. Because that's kind of always what it boils down to. But yeah, and in the future, hopefully that might not, looking further ahead, that might not always be an issue, because in 2014, we're hoping of kind of reforming or reorganizing kind of and submitting an application and all of the materials to be an official like nonprofit.
Okay.
Which then, because right now we're not for profit, anything I get I dump back into it.
Yeah.
But actually, as far as the government will recognize us as a nonprofit organization, and what that'll do is let us get grants, ideally, which could open opportunities for even more publications, which would be pretty cool.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So if that goes, that's kind of looking too far out to know for sure what'll happen.
I think if you start an independent publishing anything, you're already not making a profit.
Well,
you might as well just try and
getting recognized.
It's just getting the paperwork in order, I guess.
Yeah.
It's funny that
there's a few hoops to jump through for it, but nothing too difficult.
Okay.
Nothing that we aren't already doing. We're not, taking a profit.
Is it a state thing or is it like a federal thing? How does this
federal
work?
Federal nonprofit.
Okay. And then you can get everyone that works for you to work at a volunteer salary. That's good. All right. So we're gonna figure that one out. I wish that I had brought my laptop with me now, because then we could play a song and take a huge long break, and then could go warm up my coffee. But now, because I've ambushed you and you are fenced in, Uma, you can't escape. You have to answer some questions.
Oh, the camera's on us.
The camera's on you now.
Did you notice him?
I didn't notice that.
I did do that. I'm very subtle while I was looming over you with my 6'3" frame.
I thought something had gone wrong with one of the microphones. I was all flustered. And I was like, what are you doing?
What's this guy doing? He's ambushing us more. So, you've been involved now with the Conium since it started. Mm-hmm. And I just want to know a little bit about your role in the Conium as a senior editor. Like, you kind of in charge of reading submissions, or you kind of in charge of the publishing aspect of it?
No, well, James does pretty much everything for the Conium, hands down. He's the one who, thought it up and made it run, and I help him make decisions about things, but, mostly it's kind of his game, and I'll just help him with the process a little bit. I guess mainly what I do is I just, look at submissions and, give it a rating and some comments if I like it or not, if I think, it should go in the journal. But I don't see everything that goes in, actually. There's a number of pieces that I don't see before they go in.
Okay.
So, which I'd like to change, but I've been really busy outside of the Conium, so it's kind of difficult for me to dedicate a really sizable chunk of my time to it.
Okay.
But hopefully for the next ones I'll be able to do more. I mean, at least, if nothing else, to take some of the work off James's shoulders, because he's going kind of crazy doing everything himself.
Well, he can take it. He's tough.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I don't read them all myself. And I mean, I do read them before they go in, but
you're not the only editor.
Not the only reader going through every single. Some of the pieces that get rejected, unfortunately, I won't have time to always look over. If Tristan and Uma, or Susan and the guest editor, or like if a couple people have already said no, this isn't something we're interested in, I just trust that you kind of have to. Otherwise I wouldn't have enough time. But despite that, Uma always thinks she doesn't help that much. I mean, she reads the submissions just like our associate editors do, and you do more though. You pick out the cover art every time. We go through. Well, you don't pick. We pick it out democratically. We both look at the art submissions, which
she
is
knows which one is the best.
The other editors,
inherently, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See,
the cover art. She helped with the original layout, which is still credited to kind of both of us. This neat kind of modernistic. At least I think it's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing. We've got the little page markers in gray that kind of separate the sections, and I don't know, it's got a nice look and feel to it, I think. And the website redesign, I run basically everything that isn't submissions.
Mm-hmm.
I will also run by Uma as the senior editor. I will ask her, does this look right? Should I, change the header on the, when we were doing the website redesign, And I'm sure for the second redesign, the same thing will occur.
Because you've got so many things happening. That's what I was basically driving at. It seems like you have to delegate certain amounts of responsibility, like to get all that done and accomplished, and to keep the website up and running with new content, to still be able to put together the journal, to have it designed and all that. It does take a team effort to get all of that stuff done and accomplished, and it's really something that you guys are able to do all that, coordinate it all.
Yeah. And right now, more and more of it does end up falling to me as we're growing, which is something I'm trying to also change with the restructuring, because I'm running out of time to dedicate to
when
it.
you decide to get your nonprofit status, you can be the one paid employee.
That would be nice. We would need a nice grant for that to happen, but if we did, that'd be pretty great.
Start running contests that everyone has to pay $15 to enter.
Yeah,
we were talking about doing a contest, actually.
I've run it by Tristan already. I haven't talked to Susan.
Actually, that's a way to play it for publishing stuff. That's
yeah, especially for maybe smaller things like chapbooks and the contest thing, as well as continuing with the guest editor thing, kind of shifting that also to the contest. Maybe having not celebrity, but like what's the right word? I don't know, a notable kind of judge to kind of help look over a few of the submissions and make the final call, attract some people that way, and also, get to work with a really cool poet or fiction writer in the process, which is always good. So, yeah.
It's a good way of doing it. I asked you this last time, I'm sure. Does Portland have any other journals?
Yeah, there's the Portland Review, which is run out of Portland State University. Okay. I think, Portland State. There's also the Burnside Review, which is not, I don't believe they're affiliated with any kind of school. They're more of an independent press.
Sure.
Tin House technically is run out of there, but they also, have a branch or an office in New York.
Okay.
They're the Brooklyn one, right?
Yeah. Who else? Oh, Glimmer Train, which is a fiction publication. They're run out of Portland.
Try to think back to word stock.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing a few.
Year.
Those are the ones that immediately sort of come to mind.
Right.
There are a few other ones too, I'm sure. And there's also your standard local zine kind of thing going on. At the Jack London, that place where we do the reading series, they recently actually had a kind of small zine fest thing.
Zine Fest happened. There's a Zine Fest that happens here in November, and it's a trading. It's kind of a place to do a lot of trading. I noticed, and I didn't have a table this year because I didn't want to trade everything. I'm tired of not making any cash at it.
Yeah.
But it's also like I realized that that's a big part of the culture, and it just also happened to be on a weekend that I was very busy. So I had like 3 kind of weak reasons to not participate, and that adds up to one really good excuse, is what I decided. But they did have the Midwest Small Press Fest here back in June, so I felt like that was a good spot for getting a table. But cities are starting to do more of that to kind of support independent publishing and underground writers and things like that. I think people are banding together in interesting ways, and but I'm always curious as to whether or not that's sort of a backlash against the academic world, or if you think that's like just simply a way of creating a new community, in order to kind of bolster the efforts that the people are putting forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably more the latter. I don't think a lot of movements, that start around spite ever gain that much traction, or out of, not spite is maybe the wrong word.
I just want people to do things out of spite, I guess. I think it's funny.
No, it happens. I mean,
it does
people do that. I think it's a little of both, though. It depends who you ask. There are definitely the zinesters who, or it's sort of maybe that same mentality or that same crowd that you were talking about who would refuse a push cart if offered. I wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, it's distribution through Norton, essentially, which is pretty awesome. I mean, people will read my work. That's kind of what I'm going for. I don't care as much about the politics. Maybe I should, but I know I should. But
I'm putting you on the fence here. I'm sorry, man.
No.
Knocking you off.
I'm always conflicted, constantly.
It's part of life, man.
It is. But I don't know. I'm sure there's a little of each, but I think it's more just the whole banding together thing rather than like an anti-academia thing. It's more of a pro-community thing.
Well, we talked a little bit last time about since you've been out in Portland, about the people that you've met out there, and I just wanted to get any new folks that you've come across, since the last time I talked to you, which was about 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
But just touch base on that a little bit again. And maybe if Uma wants to throw out some names, just get you in this conversation since you're on camera, and I don't want to feel like we're wasting camera space on you here.
You got anything?
No? Okay. Are there good places for wine in Portland?
Yes.
Okay.
There are
I
quite
heard
a few.
that's actually a really good town for microbrewing too right now.
Yeah. Well, people call this Milwaukee like the brew city, is sort of one of the nicknames?
Yeah.
What is Portland's? Isn't it also Brew City? People call it that too.
I've never heard Portland called the Brew City.
It's called something related to beer.
But it should be.
There are a lot of.
There's so many microbreweries there, and they're amazing. And then I came here to the Brew City, and all the signs are for like Pabst.
Oh.
And Miller and all
You haven't been to the little
that
ones yet.
I don't like.
We'll take you to the small breweries.
Yeah,
at some
that
point.
would be good.
There's one just down the street actually, and then there's one across the bridge. There's one up there. I know where all that
maybe
stuff
if we had
is,
the
so.
show at a brewery, it would be easier.
Right, let's start that. See, I'm trying to get my polka rap band to start playing in breweries more. What I ultimately want to have happen.
Seems like a nice fit.
What I ultimately want to have happen is to get partnered with a microbrewery and then have them
like
name
sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsor, but name beers after us. More importantly, for our legacy here.
I don't care about the sponsorship. I just want a beer named after.
I know. I really could care less about the money. I just want the cheesy fame part of it. Yeah. Screw the other part, right?
That's not a bad idea. You could have each beer has a different poem on the label.
Oh no, he's talking about.
Talking about the rap
November
group.
Criminals,
Yeah.
which is
that's not what
it's polka rap.
Yeah, which is funnier because. You don't know.
I don't know what that is.
It's polka and then it's hip hop at the same time.
There's a reason you don't know what it is, because Keith totally invented it.
It's like we started doing it because we had a guy that played the melodeon, we had a guy that rapped, and I'm like, we should merge these things.
That's a great idea.
And then we did it. We're playing a show. I should plug this better. I'm terrible at plugging things. I'm playing a show on Saturday. In addition to the thing that's happening in 90 minutes or so with the pattern, judging by the clock over here. I'm also this Saturday playing at Bonk in Racine, which is run by Nick Dembski of Fence Press fame and also Racine Public Library fame. He runs that series Bonk down there, and Russell Jaffe and Nikki Walschlager will be reading poems, and then the November Criminals will be performing after them. So we have our little, it's really our last one of the season, I think, because I ran us pretty ragged during November, because that's a month that we're named after.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I got really tired and bitter at the end on the 30th. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, guys. And they're like, what? This is so much fun. I'm like, it's so much a pain in the butt. And
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's what happens to us guys, I guess. Like James and I are bent the same way about stuff. We get all bent out of shape because we're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And are you setting up these gigs? Or are you the one making calls and like emails? Yeah, that's what starts to drain you. I mean, when you actually do it, it's fine. It's just like for a billion hours before and afterwards, you have to be like,
and then you got to be
managing your time and doing like annoying, boring,
we need this, and this in order to sound this way, and we need, At our last one, I boffed completely in some way, in a small way, in that I didn't get a poster down to the venue, which is on the south side of the city. And because we didn't have a poster up, we weren't able to get free beers from the bar. That's their, like, stip.
Why do you need a poster?
It's just their way. It's the way that they run their thing.
Even if you're up there playing.
Yeah, even if you booked it, even if you brought in, which we probably brought in like 25 to 30 people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speculating. I can't really say exactly how many people were there because the lights were kind of dim. But when the bands that were playing before us had people around, so I'm saying, and there's at least 20 people there, and I'm saying 25 because I know my friend Mike and my roommate Al came. So we had my friend Mike from New Orleans and my new roommate Al from Syria. So we had two people from out of town in the house. It was kind of sweet. So you go, is New Orleans in the house? And one guy goes, yay. And then, is Syria in the house? And then one guy goes, yay. And it was really absurd. But it was cool. And we've partnered up with another band that does like harmonica beatbox kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. So.
I used to know someone in New York who did flute beatbox.
Flute beatbox?
Yeah, he was really good. He would play
awesome.
in the subways. But this is when I worked at a coffee shop and he worked there. But he did a really good job, and he would do like the Super Mario Brothers flute beatbox, and it was really good.
Oh man, that's so cool. I had to laugh. Like one of the things that our melodeon player does in between songs is he'll play not the Mario Brothers theme that everyone knows. He'll play the theme from Super Mario World, the Super Nintendo game, that is on the screen while you're doing stuff. I can't remember how it exactly goes, but it's really funny. It's like all of a sudden in the middle of it, you're like, like what? It's crazy. So that's the thing that we do.
It is the thing that you
Yeah.
James gave up music for the Conium. I should point that out to everyone because he's so busy with that.
And I'm not good at music.
Great at music.
Which is not true, by the way.
It's not true.
It's very true.
Are you coming next week to the anniversary?
Yeah.
All right, so I should plug that a little bit. Tuesday night open mic at the Miramar, which I've been blessed to bartend at now for, I think, 3.5 years or so. They're having their 9th year anniversary, 9 years of open mic. And what's cool about that particular open mic is you get a recording of your performance. And you can do whatever you want to with it. And James put together a CD of his stuff once.
That I never released.
That he never released.
There's like a few MP3s here and there on different sources or websites.
I've threatened to release
Burdock,
it.
Burdock 10.
I released one song on Burdock 10, but I did threaten it one time to like release the CD as an album or something and get cover art for it and everything.
Ready.
And
it's
he's like,
there.
no, don't do it. And I'm like, come on. If we don't do it now, it'll never happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we need
banking on it.
We need a picture of you though with your guitar with the flowers on it and everything.
Yeah, I have a really nice, I guess like a hippie guitar.
I love
basically.
that. It was such a hippie guitar,
Yep.
and then your lyrics were so not hippie in some ways.
Some
But
of them
in some of those they were too, like a really big group hug was one of your lyrics, which is so hippie. But
well, yeah, the guitar really doesn't match because you're so not a hippie. You're just like misanthrope. I hate people. And then you're just like this like floofy flower guitar.
I think that's part of the mystique of the whole thing, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. See, but he's calmed down a lot now. I notice he does not have his bull ring in anymore.
Oh, it's still in. It's just tucked up to look more professional.
Oh man,
no, it's still in.
Yeah. It's there all the time, but you just—it's
there.
It's like Wolverine's claws. You know, it just only comes out when he's ready to fight.
Like, James is ready to fight all the time.
Or when he goes into a punker bar, you know, he's like, "I fit in now." It's like, and then he tucks it back in. I got the job. That's the two faces of James Gapinski.
We're getting old.
Barbarol James and professional job James, which I love.
Indeed.
Are we getting too personal now?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'm not talking about you in a mean way, am I?
No.
Because I like that about you. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So people are listening, 3 people that are listening to this podcast, which are, you know, your moms probably, and maybe my mom. I don't know.
No.
Possibly.
Your parents?
No.
No? Okay. They don't approve of your poetic, endeavors.
Oh, mine do.
Yours do?
Okay. Suppose. Although I don't have poetic endeavors as much.
You're publishing poems.
Yes,
that's more
true.
important.
Publishing endeavors.
That's the work of it. That's the work of the poetry world. Yeah. That's the hard stuff. You know, it's like if Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, because nobody wants to publish poetry because you know you can't push it.
Right. It's like the opposite of Atlas Shrugged, actually, in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that one at all. The Ayn Rand book, which I guess is summarized to me like this. It's imagine if all the rich people just decided to leave and society would collapse, supposedly.
Something like that. I don't know. I haven't read it, so I shouldn't.
But imagine if all the publishers
like
of poetry.
Imagine
if all the poetry publishers left, and then no one would publish poetry anymore.
And I don't think
and
most
society
of the world
would
notice.
Society would.
Some people would be a small group of people would be very sad.
Society would start watching more sports.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of sports. I can't say.
I think there'd be a trickle up effect, though.
A trickle up effect.
The opposite of like Reaganomics, though. Like, you know, all of the hardcore poet people would get really depressed, and then like, you know,
write more poetry.
They'd stop going to their coffee jobs, and then so people, you know, wouldn't be able to get caffeine, and then
it's tough going to their
from there, you know, it would just keep Well, I mean, you have to have a side job. You can't make
not everyone's
a living from poetry.
And you have to work at a coffee house if you're a poet.
Of course you do.
That's what you do.
And then and you also have to write at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, so everyone can see you working on it.
I'm writing this thing right now.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of that?
I don't know. I'll write a poem about what I think about it.
I'm gonna write a poem about you writing in that coffee shop.
And this is all very stereotypical and not
so
nice, but
whatever.
Yeah.
We're actually we are those people. That's the thing.
True.
That's the thing, James. We are those people that go to coffee shops and sit and jot things down. So we're merely making fun of ourselves here.
I suppose.
I mean, I'm wearing a tie. You're wearing a sweater. We're stereotypes.
The collar under it.
The collar popping over.
A nice collar.
You got purple on too. That's pretty cool. I got some purple going. Where's your purple, Uma? I don't have any.
I have purple on my gloves.
You got purple gloves.
Sweet.
Color of royalty.
Yeah,
that's what I was going for tonight. I was like, for some reason, I should be more regal. That's my release reading. I should, if I had a cape.
We could go get you a crown.
I don't want a crown.
We could fashion you a crown out of a piece of paper.
Oh, I want a sword, like a hilt. Right, that'd be kind of sweet. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
No, all right.
It would be. Go
I would
walk
go for
around.
that. That's a good idea.
That'd be a good idea. Oh, blimey. So, we're at that stretch. We're at the 40-minute mark.
Yep.
Where I completely run out of things to say to people. Which is where the music usually would come in handy. But again, we don't have any music. Could we get an acapella of one of your songs, James?
No.
Well, since your reading's at 7, you could do a little intro or read something.
I should do that.
I think you need to also plug Burdock at some point. You
Yeah.
forgot that.
I did forget that entirely. So
you
next
have
week,
plenty of stuff to do still.
I do.
Get cracking.
Wish the season was over. No, I'm just kidding. So Wednesday, there's like going to be 15 plus people that are participating in the reading.
I thought you were going to be like, there'll be 15 people there.
No, there's a guarantee there'll be at least 15 people there because there's like almost 20 people in this issue for some reason.
I thought you were just going to undersell it because that's what you like to do.
It's like 16 pages long, and I managed to put 20 people in. I don't know how that happened.
Well, sticker art.
Well, yeah, stickers, but I stagger everything. I don't like give precedence to anybody's work. I just plop it in there and I jam another one right up in there. It's just like, look, everybody, this is what you're gonna read.
5 people.
And if you can't get the feeling out of reading it, you're not gonna get the feeling out of staring at it. I don't know. But anyway, there's gonna be at least a bunch of people there, and I forgot the list, but I read it on last week's show, and the invite's up on the old Facebook, and I'll have the Tepic Fresser Press blog spot thing all updated soon. Hopefully. Let's see, I gotta try and go from memory here. Jim Chapson, David Press, Tyler Farrell will be there, Paul Vogel will be there, and then why am I blanking after that? Well, the people in the issue, Chelsea Tadieski, who's reading tomorrow for OWL, which I think is going to be broadcast from here, and then Kristen Peterson, Bethany Price, Cynthia Spencer. Edwin R. Perry will probably not be there because he'll probably still be in Ohio, but he's in the issue. Jeffrey Wright will probably not be there either, but he's in the issue. Joanne Chang is in there, and Amma Maracas, who won't be there because she's in Greece, but she's got a poem in there. And Limey, I can't remember everybody else for some reason. Oh, JT will be there, who's coming up after my show. He's got a show at 6 o'clock, and he'll come back and I'll explain how to save the Ustream video to him. And what else is there? KT Hancock did the photo for the cover. So like, there's all these people are going to be there at People's Books next week, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. So it's December 12th, 2012, 12th issue. So 12, 12, 12, 12, 12.
Very nice.
So everyone can come out to that and have a good time and support Burdock, because it's very hard to do, as James will attest. And I don't have an Uma or a Tristan or any of these lovely people to help me when I put this thing together.
You do have a kitten.
I do have a kitten.
The kitten's out.
Kitten's a year and 4 months old now. She's like a year and a half old now, so she's gotten pretty big. But she's adorable. She's cuddling with me before I left. Edith. Shout out to the cat who doesn't know how to use the internet. And they spell things when they type with W's. I don't know if you know that.
What?
Cats. Cat speak. I'm a Will Quentin.
Yeah, okay.
They do that.
I bet.
It's been memed. It's on Facebook.
Oh, well, then. It must be true if
it's how it is. I'm just saying. That's how it is. But you have a cat. You have Lester. And you have cats.
And
Dream? What kind of cat is Dream?
He's a giant black cat. He's really, really big.
Yep.
Big.
It's like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, he's like Jabba.
Is he a fat kitty?
He's
Or
big.
is he just big?
He's both.
Okay, because I had a really big kitty.
He is really big, but he's also fat, so.
Fat, big cat.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like it. Dream and Lester. Oh. Do they get along? They don't hate each other? Okay, that's cool. Wow. So, let's see. Okay, so we plugged the Burdock thing. That's at People's Books. Which everyone should come to that, by the way, because I think they're going to put our derbs out. But I'm not sure. I don't want to say anything. Also, the thing on Tuesday, the open mic at the Miramar, starts at 7:30 sign-up. And it's going to go pretty late. But because the sign-up is there, you got to get early to get on that list. There will be pizza. And we'll try and get some vegetarian stuff for you, James. So
Try.
we'll try. I
Succeed.
can't guarantee it. Because everything I wrote down for the suggestions had sausage on it. So like, oh, it looks so good. But it's from Ian's Pizza, so it's really good stuff.
Oh, nice.
Do you have a poem that you think I should read for the...
I don't know. I'm paging through right now.
So I should explain this a little bit, because I don't know what I'm going to do at the reading just yet, but I'll explain it for the sake of the people listening now, in case you can't make it to the reading. When I put the manuscript together, I wanted to have it sort of, I wanted it to have some sort of a theme, but I also wanted to just kind of like have a direction at the same time too. So I spaced everything out with these tiny poems, which I called High Art. They all had their own titles initially, but I started calling them like High Art Part 1, High Art Part 2. There's 5 sections, and so each poem that begins a new section is like a kind of a little, almost like a little preamble, and then the things that follow that sort of fit in that theme. So like the first one is called The Poet Warrior. I am not afraid of paper cuts. Cliché is my sword, my shield experimental, my armor borrowed, something blue. And then everything after that sort of fits the warrior theme, if you will, or the idea of a poet warrior, which you can become a poet warrior online. You know the internet reverendship thing?
Yeah,
okay. There's a Universal Life Church. This is how I married my friends.
You can become a minister.
Well, right.
And that really holds up.
One of the.
That's.
Well, yeah, it's on the. Yeah. I'm in Waukesha County Clerk Office as a reverend.
Right.
But you can get alternate titles, and one of the alternate titles is Poet Warrior. I'm just saying. Nice. So that's an option for you out there. So, in that section, this is my 27th birthday poem, which is like rock star death age. So like you have to think Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison. I'm trying to think who else died at their 27. So it's kind of like a morbid thing, but it's also goofy because if you're not famous, you're not going to die of a rock star's death, because you can't have a rock star death without being a rock star. But you can pretend to be a rock star. So the whole idea is that you look in the mirror and you're like, what am I? I'm a rock star. So there's like a goofy poem about that. February 7th, 2008. Wasted years hammering out a metal face, acquiring a dusty collection of unperfected stances, keeping just the knuckles. What's the pool story? Oh, you know, just another painting of blue wells gone dry, unharvested winter wheat, the fall of the dollar. There's asymmetry everywhere, and that's its beauty, I'm told. So there's some poems for you guys.
I think you should do Death of the Author.
Death of the Author.
It's 32. It's near the end.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is actually one of the newer poems in the book, too. This is from like 2009, I think. A lot of the stuff is like a little bit older, and it just kind of fit the theme. But The Death of the Author. The death of the author arrives in fiber optic speed. It began at a dial-up pace. The author wondered about his ability, his connections, his mysteries, and his love affairs as he added to his duties, day job, children, his wife's emotions if he has a wife. Just get the next page done. The next page came in the storm after the funeral, wedding, Little League game that changed everything. The page meant as much as leaves of dueling testaments. He will not drink himself to death as so many others had. His bursts of life, a promise of things to come. The author sings along to his words as he exercises them into a committed theme, idea, or plot. His plot is ready for the death of the author. Everything he thought was said yesterday in a place he's never been to, by people he's never met, in a language he doesn't speak. They talk about his musical ear, one note away from readership, legible notes in his breast pocket. Everything around the note crashes, confirms the importance of the note, folded away, a rough draft. There's a semicolon in that last line, which is awesome. I think that was like a last-minute addition. I read on like Wikipedia that semicolons were considered bourgeois.
How are they now?
And I'm like, I want to be on the wrong side of history just once.
Yeah, I like semicolons. I do.
There's something to them. Yeah. There's something to semicolon. I don't know.
They're nice.
Maybe that'll be the title of my
People
next
do
book.
Kind of
something about
shy
semicolons.
Away from them for the most part, but I like them.
Well, if you read the rules about them, it's tricky. Yeah. It's tricky.
Well, no, they're actually pretty easy if you read the rules about them, but most people don't.
Yeah. they're essentially like commas, but not, sort of.
They're not commas.
They're
at
not
all.
commas.
They're not commas, okay, but
You're a terrible poet.
no.
I'm kidding.
They're not commas, but like they're so commas, man. They're comma period colon plugs.
Well, no, I see what you mean by they're like commas. Well, they essentially they keep things contained in one sentence.
Well, you left it in. You're the editor, so it's your fault if that's
that
not.
one's fine. You had a few other ones we needed to change.
Well, you didn't.
We
Didn't
we
change
didn't
them.
edit that many things down.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a pretty.
This is
solid,
terrible.
Solid manuscript.
Is the punctuation all over the place?
No, it's fine.
This is gonna be an awful release if like the people that get this and they review it and they're like the punctuation.
They throw it on the floor.
they-
The semicolon's improper.
These are proper semicolons. Roar, roar, roar. And then my career sputtles out of control. Like, nothing.
If you really want to know, it joins two independent clauses without having to use like a coordinating conjunction. So you basically do what a comma does, but you excise the and or the but. So in that way, it's like a comma.
Okay.
Or you can think of it as like taking the place of a period. Is what it's an easier way for me to remember it.
Good
but
idea.
If you remember it that way,
If you're
go
bringing
for
in
it.
two different clauses and they get together,
Yeah.
do they have to live at the North Pole?
Um,
That's a Santa Claus
I
joke.
don't- yeah, I get it.
Oh,
I'm thinking for a minute
yeah.
though how to respond to that.
Appreciate the holiday cheer.
I would
though.
say
Thank you.
yes. I
Yeah.
don't.
No.
All right. Well, I'm just happy that It's a Wonderful Life is back on television right now. So it's a great film. Frank Capra.
I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
It's good.
It's okay.
It's good.
I'll say it's okay.
It's good. Merry Christmas, movie house.
Yeah.
I'm doing that all month, by the way. My Jimmy Stewart voice. I'm not doing it on Burdock Radio though because this is a professional show. I do it on my other show, There Goes the Neighborhood, which is on Wednesdays at 3:30, which I'm a much bigger jackass on.
Yeah. I just don't see things working out so tidily as they do in It's a Wonderful Life.
What are you talking about? His life's terrible.
No,
Like he
but
wanted to
then
travel, he never
realizes how
traveled, he
great
never
it
left
is.
his, no, it doesn't realize how great it is. He makes peace with the fact that he is
Fine.
insignificant worm who somehow manages to make the town function properly just because
he
he's a
plays
decent
this,
person.
Yeah, he plays this big role in it, and the whole bank thing, and I don't know. I prefer parodies of happy movies where they show that it really
What are
should
you
be
talking
miserable.
about? That movie's not a happy movie. He's gonna commit suicide.
But then he doesn't.
He doesn't. The
He
only
should
reason,
have.
but the only reason he doesn't is because of supernatural influences of the angel that comes down to talk to him. No, it's a bad idea.
I suppose.
And then
there
he
still are some cheesy parts, so you have to admit that.
Well, that's the 40s.
I know.
man.
I know it. It's just the 40s.
It's a good movie. They just got out of
and
World War II. Let them
Stewart's a
have
good
their little
actor.
smiles.
I mean, I suppose it's a little more, true to life than maybe like, what is it? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington or Mr. Something Goes to Washington. What's the other Stewart? The Stewart one, right?
Well, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
But that I don't think is him, is it?
Maybe not.
That's Gary Cooper.
I'm just
No, it is-
I'm just
it is
making a fool of
Jimmy
myself
Stewart.
now. I think it is.
It's Jimmy Stewart.
I think it is.
What am I thinking of Gary Cooper for? Oh, I was thinking of. No, wait. I could be wrong on that one too. I don't know. I haven't watched these movies in a while. I did just watch Maltese Falcon last night, though. Yeah. That's a good movie. Slightly less holiday themed, though.
Yeah.
Although it does take place in December. Well, folks, we've officially wasted 55 minutes of your time, roughly.
Yeah.
And we're going to sign off now. Is there anything you would like to add, James?
I guess just that you can find out more about the Conium Review or Hired in Love Poems by going to the website, which is coniumreview.com.
Uma, can you say it? Because your voice is prettier than his.
And I'll spell it too, because no one knows what conium is. CONIUM review.com.org.
.com.
Really?
Oh, man.
And if we can get the timing right, which we should be able to, Keith is probably also going to come on our podcast to do a little bit, maybe read a few more selections.
It'll be briefer than this,
It'll
unless
be very
awkward.
brief.
It'll be edited.
The podcast tends to be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So we'll shoot for less than that and basically just preview a few more poems. So if you want to kind of hear the chat book before you rush
Are you
out
recording
and
the
buy it,
release?
Yeah, we can. I brought a camcorder. I don't. Yeah.
No, not a camcorder. You just need a sound thing, right?
Oh yeah, it's got good audio. Is the main thing. We can point it at a wall if you really don't want the video.
It's up to you, man. I don't think my face is gonna sell any books
with video here.
But you guys are a cute young couple, so it's okay.
Oh, really?
You've got a nice tie.
I do have a nice tie.
That sells books.
Hopefully, and a purple plaid shirt.
Uh-huh.
I think you should plug what time the reading is again.
7 o'clock at Woodland Pattern.
Where is Woodland Pattern?
That is over, I believe that's 815 East Locust Street.
Somewhere on Locust.
I'm pretty sure.
Sounds right.
It could be 8 something else. No, that 815 is the public housing.
And we will have copies of the chapbook.
No,
we will also have copies of the Conium Review. The back issue will probably be at a discount. So
I can't remember the address for Woodland Pattern.
Buy everything.
Buy everything. Yeah.
Buy out the store.
If you can't get this stuff live, get it off the website, coniumreview.com. That's Conium, CONIUM review.com. I'm Keith Gosted, and for James and Uma, take care. See you some other time.